bet the Astros must win in Washington, and LeBron and Lakers. Point of emphasis tonight as they face the Jazz. Jalen Rose, so excited about this NBA season, and one of the things that everyone is focused on are the Los Angeles Lakers, as always. So high expectations since they added AD, yet they face another good team in the Western Conference tonight in the Staples Center when they host the Utah Jazz. However, they will be doing it with Rajon Rondo, who will be starting at point guard. What do you think about the decision to start Rondo at point guard?
No surprises here. There will be many games that he starts, probably will not finish, but you need to take some of the ball handling responsibilities away from LeBron James, who's in his 17th year. He can't be required to create for himself and create for others the entire game, plus dribble the ball from the top of the key to the top of the key all of the time. That's just more load management per se for a guy that's going to turn 35 this season. So if you look at the dynamics of their roster, you can't truly judge who they are until Kyle Kuzma comes back.
Good point.
Because LeBron likes to operate basically as a power guard, where he's the second biggest guy out there. And what does that mean? That means Anthony Davis going to finish at the 5. He'll basically be finishing at the 4-3 along with Kyle Kuzma. And then they'll figure out their backcourt situation with Danny Green, and then maybe Rondo and or Avery Bradley. Probably less minutes for KCP, who struggled in the first game. And so Rondo really puts everybody kind of in their natural position and takes minutes away from guys that were overextended in the first game.
Well, I'm glad you pointed out the difference between the start of the game and the finish of the game, because they start the game with McGee at the center and they use him, but they used a lot more McGee and Howard at center in that very first game than I expect them to. Do you expect them to use more AD at the 5 throughout the game than they did in the first game?
I do, and here's why. For LeBron James to be as effective as you need him to be, the guy that he plays up front with either has to be a shooter or a finisher.
Yep.
Look when he was at his best, playing alongside Chris Bosh, playing alongside Kevin Love, or even Tristan Thompson, who was on the dunk spot as a finisher. Those are the guys that keep the floor open for LeBron. Anthony Davis is a terrific talent, but guess what he's not necessarily known to do? Knock down jump shots consistently at a high clip.
Yep.
So he's not going to give the spacing needed. If you have those two big guys out there, it basically clogs up the paint, forces LeBron to be perimeter oriented, and doesn't give him the driving lanes to draw and kick.
One thing that we've always said about LeBron James is his best teammates are shooters or defenders. And that's why I love Danny Green on this roster so much, because he is both a shooter and a defender. We predicted a big performance from Danny Green in game 1, and I feel like we'll get the same thing in game 2. I feel like Danny Green is so important to this team, especially with Kyle Kuzma no longer on the roster. That's one big game, but Jalen, we have the Battle of New York City, the Battle of the Boroughs. Huge game in Brooklyn where the Nets take on the Knicks. I don't know why I'm so excited for this trash game, but we had 50 points from Kyrie Irving in game 1 of this season. 50 points. And now he goes against the Knicks. What do you expect to see from Kyrie?
Kyrie talked about basically trying to put on a show in honor of his grandfather, who passed away a year ago, to when he dropped that big game, his opening night for the Nets. But here's what's going to happen. I told you it was going to be a show. And for New Yorkers, and you from the East Coast, I don't have to tell you this. They love the ball handling wizardry. They love the oohs and the ahs.
Oh, yeah.
They love the ankle breaking. And then you worry about the finish. Yep. And then you worry about the score. And so what Kyrie and the Nets now have to do is to allow Karis LeVert, Taurean Prince to be able to make plays and feel involved, because you don't want to be that ball-dominant primary ball handler that gets 50 points in the first game, but then it doesn't look good when you're not efficient on certain nights. So they just have to find a level of balance, and I think that's going to start tonight.
So, Jalen, when I saw all the pieces that the Knicks picked up in the offseason, I said to myself, oh, this is interesting. And then you look at their roster. They've got like 11 players that all feel like they should be getting real minutes, and it causes a problem. And we saw it in the first game. Dennis Smith Jr. played just over 10 minutes in the first game. Fizdale favored Elfrid Payton over him. And my question for you is, do you think that Dennis Smith will bounce back and sort of regain his spot and his minutes in the point guard position for the Knicks?
I think he'll bounce back. But for those that were watching the game, the Knicks were playing well. And one of the things Elfrid Payton is going to do is defend. And you're playing at San Antonio. You get off to a good first half. You're playing them close through 3. Julius Randle has some sort of injury issue with his leg. He goes out of the game. And while he's in and out of the game, the Spurs go on like this 18-0 run and become the San Antonio Spurs on their home floor and find a way to get a win. But for Fizdale, this is what it's got to be. You got to go in there. You got to earn your minutes fast. When you have a deep team, like you said, where a lot of people expect to play minutes, I anticipate Dennis Smith Jr. is going to bounce back, and he's going to play quality minutes all season for this team.
I think so, too. I really like Dennis Smith Jr.'s game. They essentially traded Kristaps Porzingis for him, so he's going to get some minutes. Moving on. Kevin Durant was on Quinn Richardson and Darius Miles' podcast, and he was asked an interesting question. They said, if you could make up a team, including yourself, comprised of your former teammates, what team would you create? And they allowed him to take his current Brooklyn roster as well. Well, here is the team that he compiled. Makes sense. Got Kyrie, of course. He teamed up with him. James Harden. Yep, that makes sense. Got himself. Okay. Draymond Green. Serge Ibaka. They said we can switch everything on D. We've got all-world scorers. That's a perfect team. Jalen, there's one human being that's going to be in Springfield in the Hall of Fame who is sometimes called the greatest shooter ever. Steph Curry is not on this list. Is he sneak dissing Steph with this list?
How about this? You didn't mention another guy that he played with and averaged a triple-double for 3 straight years. That he went to the NBA Finals with in OKC. Russell Westbrook was also omitted from that team. So here's a couple of things. He went by positions. So in theory, I understand where he was going. And he got to add Kyrie because he basically went to play with the Nets because Kyrie was going to be a part of the squad. And I know that it seems that he's throwing shade at Steph because he is. He won 2 championships with the Golden State Warriors. He went there to run on Steph's team.
And also, he's like, we can switch everything on D. Like, oh, can you? Kyrie Irving can switch everything on D? And I get it.
James Harden, D?
In his defense, exactly. In his defense, he did go by position, but if I was making that team, I would include either Steph or Westbrook, and it's to be like me and Draymond can handle the bigs. We'll be fine. Jalen, I've got some video of LaMelo Ball that I can't wait to show you, and I will right after this.